a fairly typical day would see us putting together a bottling of a certain age. Now most of our work would go around 12 years old, whether it's 12 years old sherry oak or 12 year old fine oak, because that's where the big volume that's where the big volume is. So that's what really drives the job as such, and that would entail us nosing 150, 200 samples. Some days, and this is a sample we speak about now. This is representative of whisky from one cask, and we'll work through. Although we've got on record what these casks have done at a certain day, they will change maybe a year on. So it gives us a rough guide, and I'll work through a sample request, and that is just a number of casks that we've selected to go into that bottling. Work through what I want, where I see them going. And eventually I'll have enough to put together to form a bottling.
So an average, the average number of casks for a bottling of 12 years old would be how many?
Finished product would be for a bottling to go towards marrying is about 70 butts.
Yeah, but 70 times 500 litres.
Equal to butts, but that could be 140 hogsheads,
right.
Or it could be a mixture of both butts and hogsheads.
Right.
Fine oak, a little bit different because you've got barrels to put in there, and obviously barrels being smaller, you've more barrels.
Yes.
In fine oak, there are more casks in fine oak because the very nature of how the stock is laid out. It's more barrel and hogshead driven compared with the European oak or sherry oak as we speak about, which is more butt and hoggy driven.
Yeah. So you'll call up all your samples from. And as you say, about let's say 120 casks, and they'll come in here, and then your task is how do you evaluate them individually?
What I'll do is, and I mean, it can be in from 120 is probably a low number. I mean, we're working at 150, 200, but on that it'll be a case that they'll go in two or three different ways. For such as 12-year-old, I mean, you have fine oak, you have sherry oak or European oak driven, and you've also elegancia. And that's all driven round about. It's driven by stock,
Yes.
what stock we have. And I'll try and work out so that those samples don't go back unless I see them developing for 15 or for 18, and then I won't use. I'll set that to the side. But one or two of those casks will go into 12, fine oak, or if it's the right character or colour or whatever.
Yes.
So we'll set them out pretty much like this here. It's a sample just at casting. These are hogsheads. So this was some that went into a fine oak. Now these are at cast strain. So what we'll have here, I mean, this is some casks that have gone into a fine oak vat. And so these are American oak hogsheads.
Yeah.
But they're really bourbon barrels which have been enlarged.
And all 12 years old.
And we've looked at these are 1991 casks. So I've down-aged them from 15 into 12 because I believe they fit better into 12 than they do at 15. Yeah. Now these are set out at cask strength, which is probably about 56% alcohol by volume. We're usually using about 0.5%, per year.
0.5% per year.
ABV. And obviously a 12-year-old filled at 63 will come in between 57 and 58. Roughly. Then we'll take it and we'll cut them down to about 20%. Just adding some water. Now, usually I would leave these samples to sit for a little while.
How long?
Maybe 10, 15 minutes. Every noser is different, but I like to leave the samples a little bit of time for the whiskey and the water to interact. And I think I get a better character coming out, and we're able to describe it. Other than if we nose this just now, it's. I'm not going to say it's not implied, but I know for a fact that we're not getting enough character out of there. It's still it hasn't settled down at all.
Yeah.
And if we can back and look at them in a little while. They'll be totally different character, more in line with what I would like to see.
They breathe in the glass, don't they?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So I'm looking for some of the wood element to come out. There'll be a bit of age coming out through here to give to the 12-year-old, but we're also looking for some sweetness, some of the fruit. It's more sweeter driven character. almost bourbon type character, but not as strong as what bourbon is, and that'll kind of be the kind of grounding for the final bottling that we'll do, because obviously it's American.
So you're checking these for their appropriateness for this particular bottling of 12-year-old fine oak. Then what will you do?
Well, we'll put them into a composite. So whereas this is the syringe we use for measuring out everything.
Yeah, it's a useful piece of kit.
Yeah, it can be quite frightening for some people.
Yes.
But just to give you an idea, we take 10 mils from a butt, which is a 500 litre cask, and 5 mils from a hogshead. So if it's the same age in general, it should be pretty uniform as far as maturation goes, and I'm just rinsing out anything out of there. And we'll just composite up some of these samples here. And so that's the start of the kind of final product, if so to speak. Now we can put these all together, and at the end we might not be happy with it. So it means that we've got to go back and rework some, take some out. Some casks you'll put in that you want to carry, because there's always casks which are not I'm not saying not ideal, but not all for them, but just are strange in character, just a little bit different in character. But some of them you want to carry because that's the best age for them.
Yeah.
And other characters will allow you to do that. Set it.
Oh, gosh, that's exciting. It's so different from the individual.
Yeah, and
Should I just pour it in there?
Yep. Let's take this down. But bear in mind, I mean, this is we're nearly done there. So I mean, that's it. And even at cask strength, I mean, it's totally different from what you see water do. Now, I'm quite a fan of higher strength whiskies, because I think you see so much more of the flavour coming through. But I mean, commercially, there's an awful lot of whiskies at 40 and 43. And
there's not an unbearable amount of nose prickle there. You can smell it very well.
Yeah. But totally different with the water added in.
It is.
Yeah, added in there, and that's only 4 or 5 casks that we've used. Now, if we want to. That would be part of that, and if we need to add, and certainly for colour we would in this case, we would add in something like European oak casks. Then we've got a typical European oak cask there that's 12 years old, much heavier.
Yeah, you see the entirely different colour as compared to the typical American yellowy colour. Deep.
But also very different character coming
like
through.
Heavy toffee, and dry fruit.
That dry fruit coming through, which is fairly typical. Nose is nice, neat. Again, a little bit of water. Sometimes water can spoil a sample.
Very slightly rubbery.
Yeah.
Which you often get in
which is typical with European. But just for the competence sake, we'll add in this in, this in here, and straight away you've got a different, much darker in colour. I mean, that one, to be honest, is too heavy to be in. So typically we wouldn't use that. But for compositing wise, we would use that. And then again, we just take a measure out. And then we'll add a little bit more water to it, and there's your first sample, which is sat for a little while.
That's changing all. It's changed substantially since a moment ago.
There's the.
Yeah, it's got a different dimension.
But still, I mean, I don't think that still initially still driven by the the American oak. But that's we'll leave that sitting 10-15 minutes. That's gonna change, and you're gonna see more of the European oak coming through, and probably a better balance.
And having done your trial vatting like this, do you compare it with a previous bottling?
Well, we've got yes, and we keep there's a library of samples here underneath, and so I've picked out some of the last 12-year-old Vatons we did of last year.
But these are the traditional sherried ones.
And these but it goes the same, regardless of what we do. Whether it's sherry or whether it's let me see. Whether it's final. I mean, we just worked very, very much along the same lines, but just slightly different parameters. These are much lighter, but they still have to run within a spec that we work to. And as you can see, there's a point
in terms of colour and in
character,
terms of character.
And character.
Yeah. But having done your vatting, do you then compare it, or do you have a memory of exactly how it should be?
We'll compare it. We'll compare it in here.
With the previous bottling.
Yes, and there's a number of nosers. We'll also look at that up and down the company. So it's far wider now, and that goes through every bottling that we do, and then we'll follow that right down the line. And then when we come to composite, a bottling will take some out of this, and this. So it follows more along the blending process to get a consistent product. And like these 1, 2, 3 maybe all go together, and there might be some more. The next one goes in along with that as well. So that's why we become more consistent. Whereas many years ago, that would have went on its own, and that would have went on its own. But now, we have to be more consistent. So that's how that side of things works. And up to tanker stage, we do everything here. And then it's we'll see a product address line sample, which is the one that will come up from
a what sample?
A dress line sample that we call it, one off the bottling line.
Yeah.
And that'll be the finished product there. So we nose it and look at it right along the,
And so that is after all the casks have been now bottled.
So that is at this stage. This is us composited up. We'll follow the process, and we'll take this one here. Whereas you've got a vat strength sample, which is looked. So that should compare with whatever vat we're working alongside here, and then this is a vat reduced sample.
Right.
And then different from that, we'll have a married sample, which will be 1, 2, 3 these together.
Yeah.
And then you've got a tanker sample, so that's from the vat to the tanker, just to make sure everything's all right there. And then that's a dress line sample off the line. And
before it goes out to market, you look at it as bottled product to make sure that it matches up.
Guys in Glasgow look at it, and we'll look at it here as well. So there's a lot of checks, go into just looking at that side. So that's the kind of main work of what we would do. We also nose casks that come in at times. As I say, we have a number of nosers on site which look after that side of things, but if there are anything odd with casks that they're maybe not happy with, we'll go down and check that. We can look in through warehouse stock, always looking at creating a new products, how things are gonna work. And then we've also got this side of things, and this one's a little bit different, where you've got single casks which you may want to pick out.
Is this for single cask bottling?
Yes. Now I like to get a number of people involved in these for all because they're very individual. And because the nose well on the palate, it may not always work. But a number, selected.
Now what age? I haven't.
And these are, and this one here totally different. This is a 1975.
That smells like Fras Balsam. The you used to put them on little bits of sugar for curing a cold.
Yeah. Very different.
Surprisingly medicinal.
I mean that's a 1975. That's a 1975 fine and rare. But that's nice colour.
Yeah.
But that's from a hogshead. That's from an American oak hogshead. So it's
I wouldn't have thought it possible to get that sort of colour from American oak.
But you do. But you get a huge variation. So it's just it's always full of surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah. Release these, and please feel free. One of these is the latest distillery bottling, which is this one here. So this is a fine and rare, but these three may go as this is certainly going as an individual bottle, and the other two we'll wait and see. Although this is a beautiful nose on the taste, I tend to think that it's. And feel free to taste them.